Are here in person. So we just started recording our sessions so we can share it digitally, but thank you so much for being here today for our Mature Workers Workshop. My name is Maya. I work here at WorkBC Employment Society, and I'm joined by Yaz, a workshop facilitator, who will be guiding you through the big portion. We also have Adrian from our IT team, and Brianna is also letting in everyone virtually. So thanks so much for being here. We're just going to start with a brief overview of WorkBC services so you can see what supports are available to you before we dive into the bulk of our workshop. So we're just going to start with the territory acknowledgement here. WorkBC Centre West Shore and Soup recognizes the traditional territories of the Esquimalt, Songhees, South, Shannon, and Pacheedaht First Nations on which our offices are located. And we are very grateful and happy to provide employment-related services to these nations. Looking in at WorkBC Employment Services. So first and foremost, a general overview. WorkBC employment services are free and available to all unemployed British Columbians who are actively seeking employment and are legally eligible to work in BC. Some employed individuals may be an exception to this, such as those who are at risk of losing their current job or those British Columbians who are working with a disability. WorkBC centres are located all across British Columbia. The amazing aspect of this being, if you were to register with our centre here and you're moving somewhere else in the province, you can transfer your caseload. So these resources are accessible all throughout the province. WorkBC offers a range of services that support job seekers in their employment readiness and to help them find or maintain employment. Additionally, any BC job seeker can access the self-serve resource area of WorkBC Employment Service Centres. So that's like the one for those of you who are in person, you pass it on your way in. This is just a brief little look-see at our website. So if you wanted to learn more about any of the resources that we talked in today, you search us up, this is where you can find yourself. Now doing a little bit more of a deep dive here. So within our resource center, like we just mentioned, this is open to all job seekers. You can come in, utilize our computers, our printers, our photocopiers for any of your job search documents, and amazing staff members are available to support you with anything you might need if you have any questions. And these services are provided on a drop-in or appointment basis, so they're very accessible. Next, we have our workshops. So like you are previewing one of our workshops that we have available, which is our Mature Workers Workshop, we also have a wide variety of other ones that are available. These cover all aspects of job search and job retention to help with employment readiness and help you achieve your goals. Doing a little bit more of a deep dive into what those topics look like beyond mature workers. We also have skill identification, career planning, networking on how to access the hidden job market, effective communication on the financial side, budgeting essentials, so financial literacy, and also communication aspects such as anger management and emotional intelligence. So there's a lot of resources that are available on a wide variety of topics. Next, we have our wage subsidy program. This is a great program and it's designed to assist unemployed individuals or underemployed individuals to enhance their skills on the job. We do this by supporting employers when they're hiring someone who lacks all of the necessary skills in order to function within a role. And we do this by subsidizing a portion of their wages for a duration of up to 24 weeks. So we're able to support on both sides in that way. Next, certainly not a small one to miss, is our personal employment planning. This is where we work one-on-one with employment advisors to build your return to work action plan and help you define your personal plan for what success looks like for you. Next up, we've got our job start support and our job sustainment services. So job starts is where things like boots, scrubs, tools, and even short courses like food safe or first aid can be made available to those who are unable to afford them. And sustainment services are services that we provide to help you resolve any issues that are occurring within that are causing you difficulties in terms of maintaining your employment. So we can provide on the job or in-office support from our experienced employment advisors, and they can help you mediate any disputes with your employers, learn new procedures, or even just gain insight into today's workplace culture, which is constantly evolving. Last but certainly not least, we have our job listings and labor market info newsletter. This is called Job Links. So as a registered client of WorkBC West Shore or SOUC, you can receive this newsletter, and it features a daily list of job leads, labor market information, as well as local employment events and programs. So this is great. It's a centralized resource on everything that you need to know in order to function in the labor market here. In terms of registering for any of these services, we've got these 4 key areas: employment services, self-serve, apprentice, and assisted technology services. So The employment services, like we just talked about, are those for clients who are seeking case management. So working with someone to guide you through your job search and your job development. Within WorkBC self-serve services, these are just like they sound, resources that you utilize independently. So our computers, our printers, job boards, apprentice services are for those who are seeking financial support for attending apprenticeship training. And assistive technology is for those who have existing or imminent employment where they need assistive technologies in order to function in that role. To register for these services, we're looking at kind of 4 key stages. So first, you're going to start with contacting a WorkBC Centre. I highly suggest coming in person. We're very friendly. And you'll log in or register by creating a BCE ID. We'll screen you through eligibility. You can see some of the eligibility here that we have on the screen. And lastly, once you've completed the application, uploaded any necessary documentation, a WorkBC representative will contact you within 1 to 2 days. And lastly, so that covers a broad overview of all of our services. There's also a lot of self-serve resources available online, but that's the key areas. And just to highlight one of our upcoming events, we have our Langford Job Fair this Thursday, September 26th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Langford Legion. And this will be a great opportunity to find paid and volunteer positions locally in your community. So highly suggest coming. And please feel free to follow up with me if you have any more questions about any of that. And lastly, our contact information, which will lead up there for a little bit. This will all be accessible at the end as well. And does anybody have any questions before I hand it off to Yaz to facilitate the bulk of our workshop? Okay, thank you so much. We'll transition over to Yaz's presentation and we'll get going. And that's for you.
I know distractions. Good afternoon, everyone. I've worked with a few of you in the past, so welcome back. My name's Yaz. That now. Oh, and it's not a good start. I have been doing facilitating workshops here for the last 2 years. And if I can offer, I was also in your seat 8 years ago as a client as well. So I have some relative experience. I am also a mature worker, which is 50 plus. And so I'm 51. So again, have some experience in what is maybe barriers or what are things that we have to look for or even have certain conversations. So welcome. I'm going to go through the slides. Everything I go through the slides today is in your packages. If you do have any questions, stop me, ask me. If you have any experience that you would like to share, again, just interrupt me. I don't mind that. But this is going to be probably about 45 minutes. So, but I do encourage conversation. And that's this. So, age diversity in the workplace. Picture of what it can look like. But let me present, starting off, there are 5 generations in today's workplace. That's a lot. So if we look over it, it's the silent generation born between 1925 and 1945, baby boomers between 1946 and 1964, Generation X born between 1965 and 1980, Generation Y, the millennials, 1981 to 1995, and Gen Z from 96 to more recent. So that's a lot. That's a lot of either competition, a lot of people. Hopefully, it's not a lot of competition in certain areas, but it's just good to know who's out there. And there's so many generations. People are healthier and living longer. They're choosing to work longer because they want to or because they need to financially. This ties in with this second to last one. Some members of older generations are supporting younger generations. That was true with myself. I lived with my mom with my 2 kids for 4 years before I could purchase her house and she found her own place. So again, finances are a huge piece in this. Third one is no mandatory retirement age. Let's talk about what retirement means now. Why did they come up with the term retirement before? What does it mean? Usually it was around or understood to be 65. You retire, you don't have to work anymore. I've had quite a few clients in my job search for mature workers workshop where they've actually come back at 75. My oldest client was 76 that I've actually had within my workshop. They needed to financially. They had set out a certain amount for their retirement, but it wasn't enough. So now they have to come back. Or some even have just interest. I don't want to stay at home anymore. It's too boring to stay at home. I need more interaction. I need more be enthusiastic about something. Last point on there are more jobs or side hustle opportunities now that are online, face-to-face, seasonal contracts, or even fill-in. I have a neighbor where she used to work at Camosa and she retired, but then they asked her to come back because they couldn't find somebody to fill her position, but it was instrumental to keep it going, so she's filling in. So there's lots of examples, even side hustles. I always like to say it's amazing what people will pay for now. Even more tailoring, sewing things, seasonals up there, so crafts, markets. So there's something that you could either get paid for a sort of side hustle, part-time piece, and that can be helpful. So benefits of age-diverse workplace though. Well, there's higher productivity and skill diversity, positive impact on complex projects and decision-making. Age diversity drives innovation, different points of view promotes generational diversity. We have lived experience. We have huge network. So let's talk about that. Let's increase and make the conversations even better. Let's problem solve different ways. Age diverse workplace equals a wider range of knowledge and experience. So we need to share that. We can mentor that. Again, intergenerational mentorship, different perspectives and points of view, promotes cultural agility in the workplace and yearning for a sense of community history connection. I grew up in Metchosin and I know what Langford used to look like. Wow, has it ever changed? I miss certain places. So again, when I come to certain work areas, I'm kind of like reminiscing a bit. I want that connection, that community feeling back again. I even used to go to Lady of Her Rosary Church when I was younger. So again, we just add that perspective, that information, that yearning or the community piece to any workplace that we go to. Again, lived experience is as important as work experience. They're more committed, we stay longer. This is actually connects with the this demonstrate loyalty. We have values of loyalty. I never wanted to change different and various jobs so often. I just wanted to champion a place. So again, our loyalty and certain values we have are important. Have better, more refined interpersonal skills, including conflict resolution and emotional intelligence. We've been around the block. We've had that lived experience. We've had that worked experience. So we found out what worked or didn't. Or maybe we'll just be the observer and go, I think they'll figure it out, but be supportive. More experience equals more values. We know what values are and have and need at this point in life. It's even turned into ethics. Perspective and insight. We have patience and the ability to mentor, demonstrate loyalty, and professional. We don't usually have any problems or create problems or solve problems. That's just the way we were brought up. Our generation, I'll give you something to cry about kind of thing where you solved your own pieces. You didn't always go to somebody else. So we don't usually present problems. We try to problem solve them. So again, our lived experience is quite important, be valuable to any potential employer. Being an older, mature worker though, there's some challenges and we need to debunk some of the values or stereotypes that are pinned around us. I know I feel some of it. So again, younger workers may see it as a threat. Well, maybe they do stop and have a conversation to make the situation better. Maybe they might say we have no drive or energy. Well, I would say some of my pain does limit me. But I certainly in my head have drive and energy. So I just hope my body catches up. Difficulty with working with younger managers, not open to change, more prone to illness, chip on your shoulder, not open to learning new things, lacking technical skills. Again, these are stereotypes we need to challenge or debunk because it's not always true. Especially I find the lack in technology, and I put up, let's talk about mastering skills. Because how often do we get a new phone? How often do we get a new laptop? How often do we get a new TV? How often do we get a new car? So we've actually missed and been pushed out of mastering skills. So if I had the same laptop, say for 10 years, because I could and technology allowed me to, and so did the companies, I'd be excellent at that laptop. But no, now there's new software. Now there's new apps, and that's yearly. So mastering a skill is usually around 10 years, but we get everything. When do we learn how to master our skills around technology? So it kind of works against us, and I always encourage to have a conversation around that because, oh, you don't know how to work this. Yeah, but there's so many. So I'm willing to learn. Can you take the time to train? In Gen X in the workplace, we are goal oriented. Can't deny that. I want my agenda for the week. I want to talk to my supervisor. I want to understand what my coworkers are going through, and I want to understand when the project needs to be completed. Competitive could be. Depends on sort of the industry or certain values or energy you have. So we prefer phone calls. Is that true in here? I prefer face to face. I really do because yeah, like even emails, you lose the context. Text,
No, I want them to
but
email.
you want to email it, but you want the time to take. That's good to know too. Because again, then it gives you a preference of reading, understanding, and responding. I personally, I like the one-on-ones only because I can see body language. I like to move. I might have undiagnosed ADHD, so movement for me is important, and different learning styles and sort of tones and how fast I do things. So again, one-on-one conversations are better for me to either make the person feel comfortable or to get the full picture or conversation. Emphasis on personal accomplishment. Yeah, I'd like to be acknowledged. There's a certain point in knowing that you reached a mark, achieved a goal in that. A conversation or something that happens one-on-one can be helpful, even through email as well. Workaholic, maybe. I know sometimes I'd rather spend more time at the office to get a certain goal completed than maybe tackle my laundry at home. So again, understanding our characteristics in the workplace helps us know how we can benefit our next potential employer. Known for being extremely independent and self-sufficient, possibly, but still a team player. Also, technology skills may be lacking, but again, I'd like to bring you back to that conversation of mastering skills and how often do we get new technology. So what can you do to improve your chances for finding work? Well, take initiative for lifelong learning. The fact that if you like to learn new things, willing to learn at our age on our highlights of qualifications on our resume is important to put down because not a lot of people are willing to learn. They're willing to be that worker that, well, I'm not sure how to fix that kind of thing. It's broken. But if we're willing to learn, we're that type of worker that's going to keep going and problem solve. Around cloud technology. So again, how are things, data management, how are things held, where are they held? Keep up with latest trends. So that doesn't mean you have to keep up with everything. Maybe it's within the industry or the job or the field that you're interested in. Just keep trying to know some of the latest trends, either to have further or better conversations. Be comfortable with technology and show that you know how to use certain devices. So again, you can always ask, what technology do I need to know within this job? Because then I want to learn, I'm willing to learn, and I'll find out how I utilize it here for this job and get better at it. Age proof, says your appearance, you don't have to age proof your appearance as much, but the resume piece and know yourself and your values, your passions and interests. When I have my workshop here, that's a little bit longer, it's usually 2 hours, I actually go over and ask you, what are your values? I have a list of 100. And why I do that is because I find, when's the last time someone asked you what your values are? You get very many, no. If you don't know who you are and what is important to you and what values you hold, what values you would like to have in the next work environment, you could be looking at the wrong job postings. So take the time to do self-research and some self-reflection. Do some online tests to find out what is important to you. Because what's important to you will lead you to more sustainable work and looking at those job postings, but even better, asking the questions at the interview. So through my work research, I noticed your company ABC. How does that benefit me? How do you adapt? How do you have an inclusive or diverse workplace? How do you encourage, celebrate, or acknowledge certain values that you've displayed on your website? So again, know your values, passions, and interests is important. Huge life experience, network. So valuable, sorry. Our network is vast, from just lived experience, work experience, probably school experience with our kids, maybe even travel experience. So our network is vast. Can it be useful to you finding new work or even to make connections? Could be. So open up the conversation. 3 keys to a successful job search: research, preparation, and practice. So find out everything you can about the type of work you're looking for. Examine the job postings. If I could say some important things are that I mentioned, and this is where you want to find out about the values and even what motivates you. So besides getting up in the morning, pulling out the curtain across, getting a cup of tea or coffee, what motivates you to get out of bed? We need to find that out. Again, we need to even find out the values like I was mentioning earlier. Unfortunately, this isn't in your packages. This is what I usually offer for self-reflection and self-research, because again, know yourself. You're going to actually know what job postings look at better. But we need to find out what your values are and what motivates you, because at job postings differently. That's when you've looked at jobs and you've like looked at 5, you looked at 10, you looked at 15, and then you're like, that one. Why that one and not the 15 before? Something you saw in that job posting, the job title, the job pay, the job location, the company, something that job posting motivated you, not the 15 others. So we need to capture that in the resume. You even want to say that either in your cover letter or interview. I saw your job posting and I'm motivated to work for your company because ABC. What was that? For me at one point, it was UVic. And I wanted to get a job there because then you could actually go to school and they would still hold your job. That's one thing that motivated people for. So again, look at job postings. We want to find out what the work history is. I'm sure they can see in there still. We want to find out what the work information is about the company, service, or product, the work culture, and the work environment. At this stage, we have so much work experience. We know what places we liked and didn't like. We know which places we fit in and didn't fit in. So we want to find out and ask, do you have a diverse workplace here? I could be part of that diversity if you need that. What kind of work environment? I always like to say, up in a plane, down on a boat, inside or outside could be the most general understandings of what work environment you like. But do you like a traditional office setting? Do you like a medical setting? Do you like a fast-paced setting? Find out what environment works for you. Another thing I would like to offer is, I also encourage at this point, we need to find out feedback. And I encourage you to get feedback from family and friends. Right? Because they've been with you your whole life, through your whole work experience. It could be I don't know, we haven't seen you as much as seen your clues. So they're going to give you feedback. And then mine's going to reflect to go, oh, you know, 10 years ago, that was that job. And yeah, I was motivated, I liked it. It was all these pieces that were important to me. This last one I just got because I needed one. So again, that reflection lets you know what environments and culture and pieces were important to you. Next piece would be around coworkers, bosses. The positive pieces you had to offer in any of your routine, patterns, behaviors is good to know. Again, I'll use Maya as an experience. Maya, we miss you because you used to make that cup of coffee or that pot of coffee at the first thing in the morning. And since you've been gone, we don't have anyone do that. It was really helpful because I got my second cup of coffee. So again, what are your natural routines, patterns, and behaviors? Understand that. Find the right work environment and culture that you fit in. Ask the questions at the interview. What at certain routine patterns and behaviors, how would that be acknowledged, celebrated, or encouraged at this new potential employer? So again, finding out more about yourself and doing work research on any potential employer is going to help you look at job postings better and get sustainable work. So again, that's all through research preparation. Complete a skill inventory and keep a record of the skills you have. Let's see if I can choose a different color visual for everyone else. So I encourage you to make master lists. Master lists of your work skills, even places that you worked. But also now, since we're finding out, if you can find out what your values are important to you, you're going to start seeing a pattern to where you want to be and what you want to do and what you've been good at in the past. I had one gentleman, he was doing the values list. We were going through skills ID, and he noticed in his 5 different lists he was making, safety was in all of them. I guess safety is really important to me. Yeah, that's good to know. Well, yeah, because I've always actually gone for health and safety committees. When I enter onto things, I'm just safety oriented. I said, so bring that up in your resume, your cover letter, and your interview. Look at job postings where safety is important to them. And they're going to lean in going, wow, you're that focused on safety. We need you here. So make these master lists and find out what patterns you're seeing comes up for you. One thing too is if we were always raised in a certain generation where we were told to do. Just do this, do that. We're kind of directed maybe into gender specific things. So now if you start making your lists of work skills you have or values you have or even interests, you might find out you were redirected when you're younger not to do something, but that's still there. It's still something that you're interested in. So find out, is there a chance to do that? Maybe there's a side hustle, this interest that you have, this perspective you had before. Another is, so write branding statements with your top 2 or 3 skills. So practice speaking about yourself in front of mirrors. So when you're in an opportune moment with a captive audience, maybe you're like, no way, you're the gentleman or lady that owns the company. I want to talk to you. I've always wondered about that company. So then you can share 2 or 3 skills that you have that would benefit them. When looking for work, it says don't assume ageism, but it is around. I don't deny it. So again, ask for feedback. If you don't get certain jobs from interviews, ask for feedback. It could be just that there was so many people that applied that, yeah, maybe there was just a better candidate. But your experience gives you a broader experience on things. For example, has your experience taught you to have ethics as a priority? And never, instead, talk about your experience and your competencies. Have something to share that others don't, especially that life experience, especially that network piece. The key is to identify your skills and competencies and how they will benefit the employer. And stay positive. I keep going back because I'm used to doing that in my workshop. No break time. I'll go through this quickly, but if you have any questions about hard skills or soft skills or transferable, ask me further. I'll give you my email. But it is important to know, because before, hard skills were really emphasized and people, where did you go to school? What did you learn? Now it's changed to, what type of person are you? What transferable skills do you have? Because we want you to fit in the work culture and environment, and we'll train you now. That's a huge thing for mature workers now, is we're looking at soft and transferable skills, and they'll specifically train you to the job. So ask if that's an opportunity, because if you fit into the workplace and are a positive employee, then that's great. Then you're not going to be that type of person that's always at the HR door. So they again, I just want to emphasize, hard skills are important, but they're not as emphasized on as much of where you went to school and who you knew back then. It's more of your soft and transferable skills. And where's you is your soft skills. So that's why knowing your values is important. Skills are the skills you take to your work. So if you have the values of respectful, accountable, and integrity, you don't take off that sweater when you go to your work. You still bring that. So those are your transferable skills. You'll still share those values within the workplace. Doing that, have it. These are within your packages. So if you wanted to look up some more information on, you can do these. I do suggest the WorkBC website. It's quite useful. It also has things called skill or not codes. Not codes can also be seen on canada.gc.ca website, but not skill or codes are for national, I'm gonna forget, occupational classification. So every job in Canada has a NOC code. So let's say you wanted to still be a teacher. You could put in a NOC or put in teacher NOC code website and find out what kind of different teachers there are in Canada, what kind of different jobs. I did it for writer once because I still want to be a writer. And there's 6 jobs in Canada that are recognized for writers. Policy, short story, narrative, and there's 6 others, or 6 in total. But again, I found out what kind of skills I have or job titles I've had before, put it in there, and you can find out what jobs are available. If you put in plumber, it would give you all these different things around plumbing that I wouldn't even know about. Nurses, the same thing. So it's good to go to workbc.ca. Your skills. If there's time and need, ability to upgrade your skills, please do. It always shows well to write out your resume as a mature worker and under training or certification or education that you have current certification. It says 2023, 2024 on it. So LinkedIn, if you're part of that, they actually have free learning there. Coursera is more around college and university type courses, so check those out. And MOOC as well. I think that's more an international one, but they also provide further training. Management, we offer stocks. So short-term occupational certificates. So through your employment advisor, you could talk about, oh, I need to upgrade my WHMIS, my first aid, food safe, serving right, or fall protection, if that's what you need for your job. And we can help you get those pieces too. Don't let your resume age you. So I do have a separate resume workshop that's 2 hours. So in 2 minutes, I can offer the most important thing to do for your resume is tailor it to each job posting that you apply to. I usually use the example, I don't know if there's many plumbers in the room or online, but if you are a plumber and you're applying to 5 different plumbing jobs or companies, job posting, you have to tailor it to each one. People are like, oh yes, why so much? It's not as hard to tailor your resume if I can take you through an exercise or you need help, but you need to because they're going to use different words, action words, lingo, and provide information. So by tailoring it, you're actually going to gain better to have a chance to get the job than just a general one. Oh, I'm a good team player. Well, how? They want to know specifically how. Communication, problem solving, working with clients, how. So you need to tailor your resume to each job posting. So some things like, we'll use the profile example, dedicated customer service professional with 15 years experience in various retail environments, dynamic, articulate communicator, who excels in uncovering customer needs, providing solutions, and handling objections and service requirements. Proven record and measurable increase in sales and client base. The highlight red action words are probably the action words they used in the job posting. So you need to use that in your resume directly. Also filters you in case you apply to a bigger company like Island Health, BC Ferries, school districts. They all need you to use their action words to filter you in and not out. There's something called ATS, applicant tracking system, and they'll see if you use their action words or you didn't. If you didn't, but you use great action words of your own, but you didn't use they'll filter you out. So again, any job posting, the action words they use, you need to tailor your resume and cover letter with them. Again, around the language they use, find out it's client focused or customer service or customer versus customer success. Is that important? Well, I've worked in customer service. Like, what's the difference? Why do I have to specify something different? Again, their lingo, their reason. Do some research on the company. Why they're using those certain terminologies? It's for their benefits. Don't go back more than 10 years on your resume. Yes and no. Depends on how loyal you were to one company. I had one gentleman who was 30 years down at the dockyards here. He goes, what else am I supposed to put on my resume? Well, we use that then, but we now highlight your transferable and soft skills for loyalty, your values. You championed it. You're very knowledgeable of the job. So we pull out that information. Include computer skills or technology skills. So I suggest find an online course, find a face-to-face one. Sometimes the local recreation centers or even senior centers, even us, we do one each month is basic computer skills. If you need that, find a place, just join up. Include relevant volunteer experience, not so much on the hobby side, but if you are a bookkeeper looking for a job and you've been a treasurer of the Lions Club part of Suksay for the last 7 years, put that on your resume. It just shows how you apply your work skills and your values within your community outside your work time. Another thing is references are a separate document now. We don't put references available upon request down at the bottom of the resume anymore. It's a separate document. Usually you're handed or asked for it after the interview. See it in today's workplace. So again, through your work research, if there's certain job requirements that they've listed or asked for, just make sure you know what it is. If you don't, it could be a weakness. And I always say, this one, if you have a weakness or feel you have a weakness when you look at a job posting, best thing to do, and I say to any client, any age, identify it and then problem solve. I noticed on your job posting that you require Excel. I'm not great at it. I know about it. I worked on it 14 years ago, but I'm not sure what you need currently. Because they're going to ask and hope you know that skill, but then problem solve. Okay, I'm going to ask how to use it or what I need to know about it, or I'm going to YouTube some local or some videos around how to use certain part of Excel. So again, they want to know, they're going to see a weakness, so identify and problem solve it. And you've just presented yourself as an efficient and beneficial employee to their environment. You're not just going to be the one that sits there and goes, it's not working, I don't know how to do it. So I always present that. If you do realize you have a weakness, identify and problem solve. And any of the information around technologies, identify it and find out, learn about it. Other thing to notice is different entry-level skills. So if you were going in as a laborer or entry-level job, or you're going in as like a junior accountant, just understand what level you're applying to, because that will take more experience and more work skills, possibly even training. So just be ready for that conversation when it comes to the interview time. look at the labor market. Find out, this piece might not be in your packages, apologies. But research the labor market demographics or information around a certain industry. Around if you're going to go in nursing homes, if you're going to work in retail, if you're going to work in bookkeeping or accounting, find out some of the labor market and the demographics around that. This one just offers in 2015 the population, and what it's offering here is letting you find out how much competition and population there is in BC that was going for certain jobs. It's not all for one area or industry, but it just gives you an idea of the labor market demographics for BC and what other competition or population was out there. Networking is the next piece. Again, our network is gold. Had a long life and work experience. You have lots of network. So try and use your network, but I also have underlined Chamber of Commerce here. Look for your local Chamber of Commerce. It can be helpful in a gold mine. Because it helps with your networking events. They usually have, I think, is it coffee chats each month? So check. I know West Shore does that. Maybe Colwood as well. Maybe Souk too. Chamber of Commerce can let you know what's local. It will give you the information what businesses are there. So if you were, say, going into the restaurant business and you see, oh, in the West Shore they have 80 restaurants. Wow, I got 80 places to put my resume out. But what if you only want to work nighttime shifts? Now it's in that filter, oh, there's only 42 that do nighttime restaurants. So now that's filtered it down. Well, now I only want to work in this certain work culture environment. Now you have 10 places. So again, networking can be important, and Chamber of Commerce can help you know what's going on locally. Also, the difference between, say, the Souk Chamber of Commerce and the West Shore is Souk is more tourism inclined. So if you're more leaning towards jobs around tourism that are maybe seasonal, that would be a place to look for work. Here, there's more construction. So it's a little bit more heavy on that industry than tourism. I used to have always been going over the computer, yes, I'm used to it. So again, I just want to see, this is the second to last slide. So if you do have any questions, I do have time to answer. But again, research, preparation, and practice. So research employers by visiting their website or webpage, speak to current employees, or request an informational interview. Has anybody heard of an informational interview? It's a proactive way of connecting, either face-to-face, cold call, or emails. Online. Informational interview. A proactive step you can take where if you look at, say, a certain industry and you find a company you're curious about, but there's no job posting, you can be proactive and connect with them. On my online research of companies in this industry, I noticed I appreciate what your company had to say. Can I meet with you for, say, 15 to 30 minutes? I have, let's say, 4 questions. Approach to go to a company ahead of time, or maybe they do have a job posting, but ask before you even start doing your resume. You can actually find out, is this fit? Do I really want to work here? You can ask the hard questions. I noticed your salary range was 1,000 to 2,000, but in other companies for the same job was 2,000 to 3,000. Why is that? So you can ask any question in an informational interview because you being proactive and connecting with them to find out if it's a fit before you even do your resume. Again, research can be done through informational interview or just checking on the website or asking current people that work there. Another one is prepare your branding speech or elevator speech. So an elevator speech is a quick example of that is how long does an elevator take? On Victoria, very short, very tall buildings. Went to Montreal and there's a building with 57, so that's a longer elevator speech. But it's a chance for you to put together important information of your work skills you want to highlight, who you are, and how you would benefit a company. So again, highlight 3 or 4 skills, highlight why you'd want to work at a certain company and what you would have it on. More or less what you can do for them. Practice this elevator speech. We may be caught in an opportune moment, say in a coffee lineup, and you're like, "This is the person I want to talk to." And you'd already be prepared with the information of summarizing your work skills, who you are, and how you benefit. And for today, believe you have something to offer because you definitely do. Through our lived and work experience, we have a lot to offer. So focus on your values and see if the job posting matches them. Make a list of current skills in work and life. So again, emphasizing to make these master lists. You might find a pattern of, oh wow, that creative piece, that value, that skill is a thread throughout everything I've written down. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. So make a list of any skills you need or want to acquire to be successful. Look for places for education around micro credentials. They can be 1 day, 1 week, or a little bit longer. But micro credentials allow you to do something and learn something new in a shorter time span and not have so much of a financial burden. Find out if there's classes, network, volunteering, or any other community effort around or event that you can help be part of. Again, we can all put this on our resume. We can put in our cover letter and present it in the interview. Research occupational outlooks or side hustles. Again, it's amazing what people will pay for now. There could be a market out there. And more outlets for socializing, exploring, and having better conversations. Again, sometimes we need to be the type of people that have to be shown something that's done. I know I'm that type of person. And then if I'm like, oh, well, someone else does it, I step right into it. So have conversations with people. It's amazing what you can find out and the connections you make. It's for a presentation today. Amazing. Questions. Sure, Brianna is going to offer if there's any online.
If there are, but otherwise, I think that brings us to the end. Thank you everyone so much for being here and everyone who tuned in virtually as well. Hopefully it was helpful for you. And we'll end off there. Have a good day. Great.
Thank you for
And Brianna will close out the living room. So much.
Okay. If you do have any questions, I am sticking around, so I'm grateful to
I hate to be the negative voice here, but this is all great.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily think that employers think so.
I hear you. Is there a certain industry or field you've been working in that you found?
I said no. I think that government's more open to it, but I could be wrong there. But currently, in the area that is going now, it does need younger people, and I think part of that is because they feel that people will have a good connection with their clientele.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually agree with, but convincing them of that, yet the assumption is there. So, I mean, it's all very well saying that we have all these values and we have all these soft values, we have all these soft skills and transferable skills and all the rest of it. But if the employer looks at you and goes, well, you're not going to connect with our clientele because we want someone who's younger and more fun, then it doesn't really help you much.
No, I don't deter or offset what you're saying at all. I have many adult clients that have come here over 2 years and go, Yes, I wish the employers would take your workshops, because yes, you're sounding very positive, you're very optimistic, but that's not the reality within their experience. I offer, and not lightly, because I don't have all the answers, but a suggestion is starting off here, because if we don't start asking some of the employers, or they start getting these questions, there may not be a change. When I used to work before in child welfare, and I was a social worker, and I was very optimistic, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna oh yay! But I found out my values were not acknowledged in that systematic work environment. When I went to UVic, again, systematic work environment was not for me. I've gone out of that systematic work environment and certain culture that, yeah, it just, I didn't work in there. It's not to say those are negative places to work. Many people are thrive in that. But for myself, I found out through my own values and my self-research what was important to me and what fit. So again, I may ask just for more self-exploration and maybe informational interviews to ask people. And if they, within an informational interview, they can say, I think we want younger client or younger people. I'd like to ask you how, because I have A, B, C, D skills, and I network, I life experience. Please share with me your piece. So you're just encouraging a conversation, and hopefully we see a bit of shift. I know we can't change things, but at least you're assured that you had a good conversation of asking a question, offering who you are, and that you would have benefited the company. It would be up to their choice, but yeah, sometimes it's not always positive. Does that help a little? It's going to be action. It's action. Yeah, I hear you. And no, yeah, it's common for many clients, probably weekly, for to say, yeah. So I encourage conversation. Asking.
If you've done a, say you've done a certain career most of your life, but you want to like do a change into a different career, like this kind of stuff would still apply to the like going into a complete different field, say? I
find it does. I had just what was today? Yesterday, Monday. I had a lady who had worked in Ministry of Education for 7 years, and she wants to do a career shift. My first conversation to her is, what are your values? Okay, they do lie within education, but if you want a career change, what are your transferable skills? So as an educator or previous teacher, okay, you're good at communication. You're good at with emotional intelligence. You're probably good with being a team player. So we pull out not just being a teacher educator, we pull out the transferable skills, like that communication piece. And we highlight that in your resume. That's usually how I approach when somebody wants a career change, and I've had a lot in my classes. Does that kind of help a bit?
Yeah.
I think too, when I give my clients a list of values, and it's 100 of them, and they mark them off. And then I ask, did you have these same values at when you're 20? So we've changed. So it's good to identify who you are and where you're at. But the other thing too is with the values is asking what kind of work values they have in the culture, work environment of the company, because then again, you can find out if it's a good fit or not.
We had a question come in virtually. I know that this might be a bit of a difficult question to answer, so I can sort of follow up, but just asking what are the requirements for wage subsidy? Yes, virtually, so I'm just gonna follow up. Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
So first and foremost, there was an adjustment to the program. So now you do have to be a registered client within a WorkBC Center, or within a WorkBC Center to be considered for wage subsidy as a client. On the flip side of that, the employer has to hire through one of our centers. There is eligibility beyond that, but first you have to go through the process of becoming a client. And then once you're in that position and working with your employment advisor, they can help you from there. I know that that's a bit of a general answer, but also as well, please feel free to reach out to either of our centers over the phone. Our community resource specialists have a really wide knowledge base as well, and they can fill in those gaps for you.
Which industry?
For wage subsidy, so there aren't limitations in terms of which industries wage subsidy. The key characteristics are that this is someone who wants to move into a role or a position that they don't have the necessary skill set for, or not all of it. So perhaps you're matching with 75% of the skill set, but there's something critical there that you need to fulfill. So by being able to subsidize a portion of your wages for up to 24 weeks, we mitigate the cost to the employer and encourage them to be able to give someone an opportunity.
When I mentioned they look at your soft skills and transferable skills more and then can train you, that can even help with that if they choose that.
Absolutely. And I mean, yes, highlighted is that the transferable skills are incredibly important, especially when you're making transitions from one to another. And sometimes we undervalue our experiences and how they can equip you to be in another role. Just
a lot of employees or employers using that subsidy, wage subsidy, they're acceptive of it. Is it like,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'd want to go to like our wage subsidy specialist to be able to give you like
Right.
accurate statistics. But that being said, absolutely, because it's a great opportunity for them as well.
Right.
Because they could hire out in the community, but whether you're someone who is more mature, you're making to look a transition to a new role, or if you're someone younger who just doesn't have any experience yet to accept those inherent skills or inherent values, it provides a value to a lot of different people. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's an opportunity that a lot of employers are eager to take advantage of.
You were talking earlier too about being able to help with qualifications that you might need. And I was just wondering, because my current situation has had a great job over the summer, I loved it. But in order for them to continue employing me, there's a certain qualification that I need. And I'm broke. I can't afford to go and take the course. So I'm just wondering what kinds of things, like you mentioned, work safe and things like that, but are you able to do sort of slightly longer term things? Like the course that I need is 8 weeks. But with that, and they will hire me, but they can't, because if they hire me when I'm unqualified, they can face massive fines and it's my job anyway. So it would make sense for me to have that, but I don't really know how I'm going to go about doing that when I can't afford it.
I feel that would be a conversation to have with an employment advisor. So I encourage you to go through into case management and do that piece. When I was a client 8 years ago and they helped me find a facilitating job way back then, I didn't take part of the training thing, but I did take part of the wage subsidies and they accepted me for that. So if you go into case management, you could be asking your EA, this certain piece, is that possible? I'm not sure myself, but it could be a good question for them.
Okay. I just make sure we don't have any other virtual questions.
And the lawyers would be and covered it or
For the wage subsidy, yeah, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, mine was, it was a not-for-profit that hired me, and the subsidy had its paperwork pieces, but they appreciated it. So yeah, I was able to go to Justice of Institute. They sent me to some more training. So yeah.
We just have one more question that's come in. Someone's asked, does WorkBC pay for micro-credential courses? And do you have to be unemployed to seek help from WorkBC?
So we do have a wide variety of services. There are some where you do have to be, like we said, unemployed in order to access them, and those are our case managed services. So working with an employment advisor and taking our workshops. Our resource centers are open to anyone, so do not need to. You can be employed and looking to make a transition and be utilizing our center for that purpose. Sorry, Brianna, there was another first half of that question that I missed. I got to the second end.
Yeah, does WorkBC pay for micro-credential courses?
Mine was Stronger BC. Because that went towards any post-secondary college, university within BC, and it was 3,500. Brianna, do you know if they still offer that? That Stronger BC program?
Yes, yeah. Oh, actually, someone else put in the chat, there is a Stronger BC Future Skills Grant that has a lot of micro-credential courses.
To WorkBC on a Stronger BC thing, and I've done it because I was like, maybe I need some more courses. And they list which post-secondary place within BC. Maybe you choose Douglas College, I remember being one, Vancouver Island University. Then you click into what courses they're offering. Oh, Vancouver Island doesn't offer it, but Douglas College does, and it's online. Okay, so you just have to navigate through what course or what works for you or financially. So Stronger BC, I think it was 3,500.
Absolutely. It is a very case by case basis, which is why the majority of our resources are accessed after someone has passed through eligibility. And those are typically conversations that are managed by employment advisors. So it might sound a bit like a broken record, but it's just to push the concept that working with an employment advisor has a plethora of benefits. It's really a great opportunity.
It is.
Yeah, hope that answers those questions.
I was with I believe WorkBC.ca.
And that's the provincial website. So like we said, we are a local center, but WorkBC is active all throughout the province. And their main website has tons of information on grants and all of the services that we've talked to you about today, a deeper dive into any of them. And you're also more than welcome to either, if you're in person on your way out, to talk to our community resource specialists, or give us a call.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all your questions. I really appreciate you.
ESL colleges here. And I had to have a separate qualification, but it's not one of the ones that's listed by language is BC, or sorry, language is Canada. And while they can hire people off season for you know, for short term things, but during the
Sure, one second. I'll just muted really quickly.